Thank you so much for joining me for my 5th episode of the Wise Owl Knits Fibercast. I'm so happy to have you here with me today, and I know you have lots of knitting podcasts that you can choose from, so I really appreciate you taking a little bit of time to spend with me today and just see what's going on in my corner of the fibery world. So, without further ado, I'm going to jump into what I'm wearing, which is also finished objects. I'm wearing my facette that I'm going to step back here to my little step stool that I made for the Facette Along 2023. Finished this on Saturday, this past weekend, so the day before Mother's Day. I knit this in some DK weight from Skeins that I've had in stash for a while. It was a limited edition run, but it is a wool, a little bit rustic, but not too much. It has just 2 plies and kind of a light twist to it. I picked the colors really because I like teal, but I picked them very quickly. I tend to make decisions on color work, like snap decisions. I just look at something, I think that's what I like, and then after that I can look at 100 different things, but I'm going to go back to the first thing that I chose. So I cut out all of that and just went for it with these colors, and I'm so happy with how it turned out. I'm wearing it over a black linen dress today. Comes up just about an inch above my belly button. So I do need to wear it with a dress or maybe a high-waisted skirt, but I don't know that I have any skirts that are quite high enough that you wouldn't see some stuff that I don't want people to see. So a dress it probably is. I could wear a long sleeve tee under it if it had pretty fitted arms, but if it had any bulk of fabric, I don't know that that would work too well because the sleeves are fairly fitted. I didn't make the smallest size. I went up, actually I made size 3 because I like to have a little bit of extra room around here. So that is my facette. I'm so happy I did it. This is from Knitting McPurley, and Devin says the sweater almost knits itself, and it really does, because there is so much interest in you're changing colors, you're changing texture, you're changing something all the time. So no time to get bored, just fun knitting, and then before you know it, you're finished. So that's my facette and my first finished object. The second thing is my tree and animal sampler quilt. Might as well stay back here to hold this up, that I made for my niece. I finished the binding on this on Mother's Day. So it is, I'm not 100% happy with the binding. I may redo that. We'll see, but I'm really happy with the way this quilt turned out. And I think the young couple with the new baby on the way will love it. So that again is the Lookout tree and animal sampler, and I believe the designer is Elizabeth Hartman. Yeah, Elizabeth Hartman. I just took a peek at the pattern. So 2 finished objects today. I'm pretty proud of myself. I haven't done that for a while. Wanted to show you, I got a gift from one of my friends at church. She had visited an alpaca farm several years ago and bought this lovely alpaca wool. The color is pepper, and it is a bulky. So I'm not sure what I'm gonna do with it, but it's so soft and lovely. So I will make something fun, and I'll probably give it back to her. So we'll see what comes of that. I've got just 2 skeins, and it is 110 yards a skein, so I can't make anything huge, but I might be able to make her a nice shawl and put some lace in it, and then she can wear that to church. I haven't ever seen her wear a shawl, so maybe she doesn't even like that. I'll have to do a little research before I jump in. Throw those back down. Now, what I have been working on. Got a couple of things. First, my Bibri hat. And I got a good couple of inches on that. See, there's my progress keeper. I am about to the point where I could start decreasing for the crown. I have a little clip on the back of my head, so it's probably going to stretch that out. So it's pretty good right now. I could start the decreases and I still would have a slouchy hat, but I'm thinking I might want to go a little bit further so that I can roll it up. I probably need to roll it up a little bit more than that. Yeah, about half the size to roll it up. So we'll just have to play it by ear on that. If I get a few evenings where we're watching a good show and I can just make a bunch of progress on it, I think I'm going to keep going because I do have plenty of yarn for it and it's fun to do. I always really just enjoy brioche. Again, this is in my bag by Delightful Works by Susan Smith, and now that I've got this different free camera software, it doesn't really blow out and you can see what it looks like. There we go. Again, Susan Smith from Delightful Works. She's on Etsy and she's got great bags. Next, well, I haven't worked on these. Oh, this is something new. I haven't worked on my God's Promise socks, so I'm not going to show you those. I am going on a quick weekend trip up to Wisconsin next weekend, so I got some car knitting time. We're in Indianapolis, and so we drive up through Chicago and Milwaukee and going just north of Milwaukee. So good 4.5 hour drive each way. So, and my husband's driving, so I've got some good knitting time. Yay! Always like that. Okay, the other thing that I've been working on, and I didn't knit any more panels, but I got the first 2 sewn together. So these are panels, 2 panels that I did on my knitting machine, and I'm gonna just make several more panels the same size, sew them all together, and then put a crocheted border on that, and that will be for a baby blanket that I'm donating to Birthline, which is the Catholic charity here in Indianapolis that helps disadvantaged moms or moms in crisis pregnancies. So that is my other work in progress, and hopefully, you know, once I get going on that, if I can crank out 2 or 3 at a time, this will be done before you know it. Just have to prioritize on that. So those are the things that I'm making. Now on to what I'm designing. The 2 things behind me, the Trinitrio, right, this pointing is really hard. The Trinitrio sweater, oops, maybe I go like this, down there, is in testing right now, and should just be another few weeks. The test is supposed to go until June 15th. So once that is over, then I will get that published and the Trinitrio will be available. The other thing that I'm working on is the poncho, Solomon poncho, and I am deep into writing that. In fact, the mornings that I can get up early and work on that are Tuesdays and Thursdays. So I worked on that last Thursday. I also worked on it a little bit over the weekend, but tomorrow morning at 4 a.m. I will be up and in here and doing some pattern writing. So that will be the Solomon poncho. Once I get that written, then it's off to the tech editor for her to take a look at. I'm going to do 3 sizes: small, medium, large, extra large, and 2X, 3X. So they basically will be about the same length. The larger sizes will have a little bit of extra length just because then it spreads out more, but the finished item will probably be about the same length. And then it will have a little bit bigger neckline on each of those. So not a whole heck of a lot to the pattern grading, but I will have to do different charts for the 3 different sizes around the neckline. So I've only got the chart done for the small, medium, and I'll have to adjust that for the other 2 sizes. Though I don't think that'll be too difficult of a task. The main chart is already done, so I just have to make a few adjustments and then get it all written out and sent off to the tech editor. I've already got a group made for testers. I've had some people ask about it. Haven't really opened the group up yet, but I've got it ready to go once we're to that point. So those are 2 things that are fairly far into the process of testing. And then I have finally cast on for my fingering weight colorwork sweater this blue, teal, aqua is a provisional cast on, and it will have an I-cord up at the top. And I have, I think, 1 more round to go before I start the color work. So this will go pretty quickly, the knitting will. I've got the chart all done for it and the sizing pretty well done too. So hopefully I'll get some good knitting time to get that done and then get to pattern writing on that. And I've got another one that's in the works that I started some charts on, and not sure what will come after that. Probably something else with cables. Can you imagine that? Something else with cables. So that about wraps up my designs in progress for right now. Here is one thing that I'm starting. I don't know if hopefully I can show this to you without it falling apart. I'm going to do some project bags, and I want to put owls on it. And I'm going to do applique for the owls, which I have never done before. I think I'm going to do raw edge applique, which is where you cut out the fabric and then with your sewing machine do either a zigzag or a satin stitch or some kind of decorative stitch around each piece. So I have been watching YouTube videos on how to do applique, just learning as I go, trying to teach myself. I thought I might put this first one on a t-shirt just to practice, but I think if I do that, then I've got the challenge of the t-shirt material being stretchy, so I think I need to put some kind of backing on that before I do the sewing so that it doesn't stretch. So that's another thing I need to learn how to do. So that is a new little idea that I am working on, and if I can get good enough at it that I think that they are something that somebody would want to buy, then I will put those in my shop along with my patterns. Got a couple of other little ideas for products to add, and I want to do things that either I make or somebody that I know makes. My son is a woodworker, and I've been trying to brainstorm with him on an idea of something that he can do. He can't do yarn bowls, so my brother-in-law might be able to do that, but he can do things with, he's got a CNC machine that is basically a little router, so we'll see what we come up with on that for him. He's got a little Etsy shop, and I forgot the name of it. I should know. I don't know if he's currently got anything in there anyway, but I will link to that in the show notes. So, let's move on to some good news. I don't know if this is actually good news, but it's just something that I'm interested in and I wanted to talk about. And it is positive in the fact that it is something that motivates me or helps me to get things done that I want to do and kind of prioritizes things in my life. I have, over the past couple of years, figured out that I really work best first thing in the morning. And I've also figured out that if I do what's most important to me first, then I'll do that every day or however many days a week that I've determined that I need to. And I can stay very consistent with it. If it's not every day, then maybe it's every other day. But there are certain things that I do every day in the morning. And the first one is get up and do some kind of a devotional. And what I have been doing, actually, this is my third year for doing the Bible in a Year podcast with Father Mike Schmitz. And I do that first thing before, for the past 2 years, but not this year, I just listened to the podcast. And though I really do think that I got a lot out of it, this year I decided to read along, and that really is much more effective in keeping my brain engaged in it. It's too easy to zone out when you're just listening. So I'm doing that. I'm also doing another podcast of his, which is the Catechism in a Year. And that's a little bit shorter. The Bible in a Year is somewhere between 20 and 30 minutes, and the Catechism in a Year is more like between 10 and 15 minutes. So I'll do the two of those every day, and both of those I'm reading along to. The other thing that I do, and I've been doing this for, I think I'm about on my 6th year, I go to a boot camp 3 mornings a week, Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. It's at the high school that my kids attended, and they're long gone from there. But the strength coach there is I think he's a young kid. He might be 35, I don't know. But really, really nice guy, and he puts on a class at 6 a.m. Monday, Wednesday, and Friday that was at first for teachers, and then he opened up to parents and really anybody else who wanted to do it. But we go, and it's called boot camp, but it's not really as bad as it sounds. It's weight training and a little bit of cardio, and it's 40 minutes long. It's no pressure. You work as hard as you can work. Got a good group of people that go, and if you miss, they miss you, so that keeps everybody accountable. So we're all there. We know if somebody else is missing, and we might text afterwards if somebody missed and say, hey, did you forget to set your alarm? So that keeps me going on that too. So I've got that streak going. So I don't know if they're streaks or habits, but I tend to think of these things that I do on a really regular basis as a streak. that seems to be motivating for me. Another thing that I do, and I haven't been doing this one that long, but it's fun, and I think it's really good for my brain, is Wordle. So it's a New York Times game where you've got 6 tries to guess a 5-letter word, and every time you type something in, if you got letters right, it lets you know. If you've got them in the right place, it lets you know that. And then at the end, you can share your results, not the actual word, but how many tries it took you to get it. You can share that with friends. So I've got 2 other friends that do Wordle every day too. And once I'm done, I click share and send it off to Arizona, or I click send and send it off to Florida. And keeps me in touch with 2 friends that are far away from me, and also works my brain, and I just enjoy it. I'm not really all that great at it, but I usually eventually get the word, so that's kind of fun. And it's fun to talk to other people about too. Lastly, it will be 2 years in July, I started intermittent fasting. And the way I do it, there are so many different ways that you can do it. But I, on most days, just eat 1 meal a day. And I usually do that in the evening because that is when I would eat with my husband. So I will fast until, from the time I eat dinner the night before, or dinner and maybe a snack afterwards, like a bowl of ice cream, something nutritious and yummy like that, to get my dairy group. But say 8 o'clock at night until 6 o'clock the next day, which is about 22, well, that's exactly 22 hours, I don't have anything, I don't consume anything but coffee or water. You can also have unsweetened tea. I just don't have that around very often, so I've almost always have my coffee with me. So I drink coffee all day long, maybe sometimes a little bit too long, and I try to drink as much water as I can too. It is amazing how good this makes you feel. And I know it's not for everybody, but it's been great for me. I did it originally because I wanted to lose a few pounds, and I didn't have a lot to lose, but I wanted to lose maybe 15 pounds, which I did pretty easily, but not super fast. I mean, it took probably 6 months for that to happen. And now I've just been maintaining that. I don't ever even think about counting calories or what I eat, other than, I do try to get my vegetables and protein, but I don't worry about carbs, or I just try to keep it balanced. We all know what's good for us and what isn't, and I try and not go overboard on the things that are not so good for me, but I don't eliminate anything. And my energy level is great. So I pretty much do the intermittent fasting every day, but on the weekends, a lot of times I'll eat lunch and dinner. Every once in a while, I'll have some breakfast. And if I'm away, like when I was at the knitting retreat, I usually didn't eat breakfast, but I think maybe one day I did. But I think I ate lunch every day. So you can, it's not like you're falling off the wagon. You can make adjustments depending on the situation that you're in. Eating is such a social thing. And if you're with other people and you want to spend time with them, then sometimes you're going to eat at different times. But you can tighten your window back up once you're done with your trip or the special activity, and you're right back where you were. It's not, you might go up a pound or two. I haven't experienced that so much, but I've just done it on short time periods. But I will tell you, when I eat during the middle of the day, I just don't feel as good. I don't have as much energy. I can get really, really tired, and I just kind of feel sluggish. Doing things in a fasted state, like going to work all day and exercise, is not a problem at all. So if you're interested in that, send me a message. I've got lots of books to suggest, but it's something that has worked really well for me, both as a weight loss, but I really think of that as a secondary benefit right now. I just think the way it makes you feel is so good that it's really something that is worth considering. Thank you so much for watching. As I said at the beginning, I know you have a lot of different choices on what to watch, and I really appreciate you spending a little time with me.